Hello, bonjour. Today we will talk about nuts. Nuts about nuts. They're so good, aren't they? They're good for you too. Good to eat, tasty, easy, versatile, easy to keep. How much better can this get? So, to who doesn't know me or hasn't seen my show yet, my name is Agathe Mathieu. I'm a living cuisine chef. I've been eating this way for 19 years. And when I started, you can see my hands with arthritis, vanished 3 months, gone, never came back. I don't have the incapacity. I can close my hands. I can open jars. I, I don't have the ache and the pain and none of that, all gone. So it's so fabulous. You might say, you listen to me and you go, but I can't eat this way. What if you could? What if you would be leaving and not actually, what if you would not only be leaving, but thriving? So I'm 64 years old. I have energy like there is no tomorrow. It's just an amazing way of life. Okay, enough about me. Let's talk about the nuts. I have my little notes here, so I'm going to read that so I don't forget anything so important. So yeah, we'll talk about nuts. And as usual, I do my research online. Of course, I know many things for 19 years eating this way. I know a few things as well, but I do go online to see more of the latest facts. What am I going to learn maybe that I don't know? And then when I do on a health line or Mayo Clinic or Cleveland Clinic, they'll they'll say may provide, may help. And it is a standard language so that, they don't get sued. But think of anything you do in life. And if you are, let's say, want to, learn how to do certain things, and you go, it might work. It might be possible. I might be able to. What do you think is going to happen? When you start with this in mind, like, yeah, it might. So what I suggest for you to do is just be in the affirmative. You do something and then, yeah, totally, believe in it. Read what it does, and then think of that in mind. Have that in mind. That's what it can do, and it will. And unless it's proven otherwise, unless you do this for however many months and it doesn't make any difference, then but also I say that it's tricky, because if you let's say I'm talking about nuts today, and there's a mention that nuts won't it helps actually lose weight because it's satiating, and someone will say, oh, no, nuts are fattening. Well, and I'm talking about that a bit down into my document here, but nuts actually have fiber, and that fiber slows down the absorption of the fat. And not only that, the unsaturated fat too, that is. Not only that, because of the fiber, some of the fats stay trapped in the fiber and just bypass digestion and everything else and just get eliminated. And yeah, it's satiating. You do lose weight. Now, often the nuts are, if you're not a raw foodist like I am, nuts are considered to be a snack. So you snack in between meals. Now that's fattening. Okay, let's start. So nuts are loaded with antioxidants. Did you know that? And it includes the polyphenols that are so good for you. Those polyphenols are in all the plant food. Polyphenols are there, and it's so good for you. Medical news today says that the oxidative stress can occur when there's an imbalance of free radical and antioxidants in the body. So the free radicals are there for a reason. Like, we have something that happens and it must create, some inflammation to resolve it, but then it should not be there all the time. It's when you live in constant stress that you have this non-stop oxidative stress that is bad. So it says uncontrolled oxidative stress can accelerate the aging process and may contribute to the development of a number of conditions. Talking about the aging process, when I have friends and they haven't seen me, I'm in Canada. I come from back east Quebec. I live in Vancouver West, like, each end of Canada. And so the people I haven't seen for 10 years. And then they look at me, they go, oh my gosh, I've gotten older. Look at your skin. Look at my forehead. It's full of wrinkles and yours isn't. So yeah, so my way of eating slows down the aging process. Life strong. So then I searched, so can we ingest too many antioxidants? Like, my diet is packed with antioxidants. So am I eating too many of them? And what it says is, this is from Life Strong, is that consuming too many antioxidants in the form of supplements could lead to an increased risk of death and disease instead of having the positive effect. You see, supplements, unless the supplement is actually like the food and dehydrated, like the whole food, all dehydrated, then it's a food. But when it's an extract, the body, it might not know what to do with it. Whereas when you eat whole foods, it takes what it needs and it flushes what it doesn't. I have a whole talk on iron about this. Meat has heme iron, and plants have non-heme iron. The non-heme, the body will take what it needs and flush the rest. The heme iron from the meat, if it is too much, it stores in your tissues. So it doesn't get eliminated. So you see where I'm going? So there is that. Okay, continue. It may aid weight loss. So study shows our body doesn't absorb all of the calories in the nuts, as portions of fat stays trapped within the nut's fibrous wall during digestion. And then it's flushed through our body at the time of elimination. So yeah, so not all the fat. And nuts contain mostly unsaturated fat. So there is that as well. Nuts can help reduce your appetite and increase feeling of fullness. And that's why, people say, well, I eat nut as a snack. Now, the problem with snack is that your body doesn't get a rest. So you're eating your meal and then you have a snack. So it has to stop restoring, has to go to digesting. And then if it doesn't restore, it doesn't, clean up what it's to clean and eliminate and whatnot. So it's constantly like, well, I should be restoring right now. Oh, but oops, food came in, I must digest. Stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. That doesn't work. That creates the weight gain. Okay, so back to feeling of fullness. It's thought that their appetite suppressing effect are likely due to the increased production of the hormone peptide. And the other one is cholecystokinin. I think I say that right. Both of which help regulate appetite. So the abbreviation for those hormones is PPY, CCK, if you want to check those. Now, when I see things like this, I read that information, what it triggers in my mind is, if that is in the nuts, those hormones, peptide and the PPY and the CCK, is it in a cookie? Right? So always when you eat food, what is that food giving you? What is that food providing you? What does it do for your cells, your body? Because we lose cells constantly and new ones are born. Well, what are they born from? What kind of food made it so that it created them? It's like, think of a mother and a baby. Depending on what the mother eats during pregnancy, it will affect the health of the baby. Well, it's the same with cells. So depending on what we eat, it will affect the health of the cell. So when you eat that cookie instead of a nut, what is in that cookie? Do you have those beneficial hormones? I don't think so. Studies suggest that the extra calories that come from adding nuts to the diet are canceled out by a natural reduction in the intake of other foods. So they are satiating. You chew, right? When you eat your food, chew. Take the time to chew. Your brain is going to register, oh yeah, I'm full. Take the time to chew. So in living cuisines, nuts are ingredients that will replace the cream, the meat. Well, what you see beside me here, that beautiful, amazing, gorgeous nut burger. Don't you want it? It's so enticing. It's made with walnuts and almonds and sunflower seeds. All are sprouted. Talk about that a bit later, about the sprouting. And it has the bell peppers and celery and seasoning, and it's dehydrated. And then it can be kept up to 3 weeks in your fridge. Can you keep meat up to 3 weeks in your fridge? No, you cannot. It can be brought, those burgers, to when you go for a trip, for a hike, camping. It's so easy because they keep. The water content has been, water content is low, so they do keep. I don't mean to keep them all day without refrigeration, but you certainly can for a few hours. So yeah, so that, there you go. That's what that burger is made of. And it's so satiating because when I eat the burger pate like this, and it has the, of course, I do everything because I eat raw food. So the chili that is on it, and the spread, the dill nut cheese on it, is also made, it's raw food. It's made, the cheese is made with nuts. And as you notice, I eat it in a lettuce leaf, so I don't use the bread because I don't eat bread. I eat raw again. I could do a raw bread, which would make it even more filling. But in the lettuce wrap, it's plenty. It's plenty because of all the nutrients that are in the burger made with the nuts. So there, yeah, it does do that. It really gives you a sense of satiation. It really makes you feel full, and you are full. Not only feeling, but you are. It may lower cholesterol and triglycerides. So the cholesterol lowering power of nuts may be due to their content of monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fatty acids. That's where it's from. The Cleveland Clinic says that the triglycerides, what are those things? They are lipids, proxy fats, that give your body energy. So you need them. Your body makes triglycerides and also gets it from the food you eat. High triglycerides combined with high cholesterol raise your risk of heart attack, strokes, and pancreatitis. So diet and lifestyle change can be triglyceride levels in a healthy, can keep those triglyceride level in a healthy range. Again, when you eat, what kind of food do you eat and where does it go? They say that the fat coming from meat, when they would extract fat from a person, they could tell if it's from the pork, the beef, the chicken, they could tell. The oil as well. So that too, I talk about how important it is to eat level 1 food, unprocessed. So as little oil as possible, eat the olives instead of the oil. Use a combination of water and nuts or seeds to do your dressing. And that's really easy. The ratio is 120 gram water, 80 gram nuts or seeds, and then you replace the oil. Let's say you would to replace 200 gram of oil, just like that. But then you have good triglycerides. You see what I mean? That's where I'm going. It's beneficial for type 2 diabetes and metabolic syndrome. So interestingly, nuts must be one of the best food people with metabolic syndrome and type 2 diabetes. First off, they're low in carbs and don't raise blood sugars levels much. Thus, substituting nuts for higher carb foods should lead to reduced blood sugar level. So when you have to choose between the two, it depends on where your type 2 diabetes is at. But if you have to choose between the two, then compare which one will have the, the lowest blood sugar level. How can I say that? That would raise your blood sugar level. So choose the one that would do the least damage. Now, I was curious to know what was metabolic syndrome. What's that? And the National Cholesterol Education Program has defined 5 elements of the syndrome. An enlarged waist, defined at waist measurement, at least 35. You can see that online too. That's where I got it. 35.2 inches for women, 40 inches for men. I apologize here. I didn't translate that in centimeters. High blood pressure, 130/85 or higher. Low level of good cholesterol, less than 50 milligram for women and less than 40 milligram for men. Elevated levels of blood fat, so those triglycerides we talked earlier. Insulin resistance, blood glucose sugar levels is higher than normal, or a fasting food glucose of 110 milligram or more. So an individual who has 3 or more of these 5 characteristics has the metabolic syndrome, they call it. Now, I hate to put, like some sort of illness on a condition, but it's a signal. Look, if your waist is getting bigger, bigger, and bigger, you want to look into that, right? And it could also nuts are high in beneficial fiber. We talked about that earlier. And the fiber provides many health benefits. It's in so many of all the other talks that I've made. And that's what it's beautiful of the way that when you eat living cuisine, when you eat plants, is you have the fiber, you have the nutrients, you have the fiber, the polyphenol, the antioxidant, all of that. While your body cannot digest fiber, the bacteria that lives in your colon can, and they need it. So it's important to eat fiber. So when you eat pasta and bread and croissant and that is made with flour, if it's not whole flour, which really is the case, because that would mean that they would have sprout the flour, kept the bran, kept all of the flour of the seeds. Usually they keep the endosperm, that's it. That's what they make the flour with. So that way you don't have the fiber. So be careful with that. And if you are to eat bread, you go, oh, I really love my sandwich. Then use pita bread. It's like, it's very tiny, very thin, so you don't eat as much of that flour. Many types of fiber functions as prebiotic or food for your or food for your healthy gut bacteria. Your gut bacteria then ferment the fiber and turn it into beneficial short-chain fatty acids. There you go. And the short-chain fatty acid have a powerful benefit, including improving gut health and reducing your risk of diabetes and obesity. You need those fibers. You have them in the nuts. You don't. Yeah, like I said, you don't have them in the cookies because it's most time made with flour that doesn't have the fiber. Plus, fiber helps you feel full and reduces the number of calories you absorb from meal. It does. It takes room, right? Okay. It may reduce your risk of heart attack and stroke. So nuts are extremely good for your heart due to the benefit of cholesterol level. Now, again, I just love doing those research because I learned so many things. I didn't know that the bad cholesterol had different size particles. So the bad LDL particle size affect your health. And listen to this. Studies found that small, dense LDL particles make the bad LDL, the bad LDL particle may increase heart disease risk more than the larger LDL particles. So eating nuts increase the bad LDL particle size. How about that? Amazing. Now the nuts, they're delicious, they're versatile, they're widely available, and in general, it's the healthiest. It is healthiest to eat nuts raw, or toast them in the oven. But let me tell you, if you eat them raw, you have again all the nutrients. If you start to toast them, you'll lose some. They're suggesting a temperature of 175. When I actually, whatever food I make with nuts, it's under 118. That's where all the nutrients, enzymes, the vitality of the food is kept. When you go higher than that, you lose that. So, it's something to think about. But what there is definitely to avoid is the nuts that are roasted in vegetable and sweet seed oils. So most often what you'll find in grocery stores in like a snack have been roasted in vegetable or seed oils and salted added and name it, not good for you. So best is to eat them raw. Now let me tell you something though about nuts. So the brown nuts, they ideally, and they taste totally differently too. So ideally you soak and rinse and dehydrate them. Now you go again, I don't have a dehydrator. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem because you cannot leave them on the counter to dry on their own. But I would say if you don't have a dehydrator, really, then put them in the oven, like they're suggesting, at 350 degrees or as low as possible. Your oven can go. Sometimes it's 150, and dry them then. Because when you soak those nuts, you remove the anti-nutrients. The anti-nutrients are there to protect the nuts from going moldy. And so when you soak and you rinse very well and dehydrate, that's to preserve the nuts, then it becomes shelf stable. Or then, once it's soaked, you can use them and make your dips and cheeses and things like that. Or like the recipes I have, the burger at the back, you can go directly making the recipe. Or I said the back beside me. You can do the recipe directly. And you can enjoy eating them like that too. I mean, the walnuts are quite delicious when they're soaked. Actually, they're soft. Some other nuts, not so much. But what I want to say is that I had a thought here in my mind that just slipped my mind. So yeah, so you have to soak the nuts, and then the taste. That's what I was talking about earlier. When I was a child, and most people have that in their kitchen, a bag of walnuts to use in making desserts. That is a common thing that people would use. And I never liked them. I tried because I like nuts. I tried to eat them, but out of the bag, ooh, they have this aftertaste that is so awful. And when you soak and you rinse those anti-nutrients out, amazing. The taste is so nice, so sweet, so wonderful, so delicate. So, you really get the taste of the nut. So, and the almonds are the same. Like all the brown nuts, once you have soaked them, it's a different taste afterwards. And most importantly, you remove those anti-nutrients. The anti-nutrients, they bind to the nutrients. So they steal them from you. So you're not absorbing them. So it's important to do that. And then the other thing, there's an idea that keeps coming in, and I don't talk about it right away, and it goes. So silly of me. I should I should write a note as I'm talking. Let me show you. I will show you my website because there you'll see that there are so many things you can do with nuts. Pretty amazing. So let's share that. There we go. So this is my website. And where you can see that gorgeous burger there at the top, and it looks exactly like a burger, doesn't it? A burger pate. And yes, I just see them like coming out from the fridge. They can be on your table, and then you have them taking more of a room temperature. You can put them on your barbecue, like flip for just a minute or so, so they don't become too dry. But you certainly can do that. If someone says, "I really want my burger to be warm." The beauty of that food as well is like with my children, I started feeding my children. They were 9, 12, and 14 when I started feeding them that way. And I would simply put on the table the lettuce leaves, the alfalfa, tomatoes, cucumber, the cheese, the chili, the pates, and whatever my oldest son loved, that marinated mushroom that I make. So I just put it all on the table, and they would assemble their own. And so that was so easy. It's like, oh, no, Mom, I don't want tomato. Well, you make your own. So do whatever, put whatever you want on it. But yeah, so that's what I'm talking about, that you can do delicious food with nuts. So, and then the difference too, like think back of what we talked earlier about the satiation, being satiated. And when I said, instead of eating nuts as a snack, mind you, choose the nut instead of a cookie if you have a snack, but eating them in a meal, then you really have the it's really satiating, and that's how you then have the wonderful nutrients coming from the nuts. You see that dish here? So it's another one that is made with that same recipe that I was showing earlier with the pate. So I make like the little balls, and then it can be eaten with pasta, for example. Now let's just go, and here you see the little rolls. So what you see in there, it's a spread that is made with macadamia nuts and almond. And then when you look at the here, this film strip at the bottom here, no, avocado mousse is just avocado. Here you can see there are little again. Oh, there we go. I can click on it. You can see the little bites that are there that are made with those nuts and those seeds. And then here, this one is the nori. So again, I use the almond. You see that pate here is made with the almonds and lemon juice, celery, carrots, dulse, and kelp. And that gives you the taste of the sea. So yeah, so that's how we use the nuts in eating in raw food. What else do I have here that I can show you? That is, well, I was talking earlier about that spread. That's a donut cheese made with macadamia and almonds. And then here, the lasagna is made, part of the lasagna, in the lasagna is that cheese I was telling you about that is so good, made with the nuts and seasoning. That lasagna is amazing. It's meaty, of course, because of the tomato in it. It's amazing. It's so, so good. Okay, and then what else do I have here? See, and then you can do bowls. Oopsies, I'm showing you the next one now. Oh, it's a small photo like this. So you see they're here. So when you do a bowl with vegetables, and those are the American mushroom I was talking about earlier, you're making a bowl with vegetables, and then you can have those in there, and that increases, it's more of a dense protein. You have protein in all the veggies, but it's more dense when you do it like with the nuts. The cake is made with cashews, can be made with macadamia. And again, same thing. So again, think again, you have a dessert in this case, but that dessert is feeding you with those peptides we said earlier, those hormones, the PPY and the CCK. I can't remember exactly the name, but it feeds you with that. It feeds you with the polyphenols. It feeds you with the manganese and the selenium and the potassium and you don't have that in cream and flour. You don't. So think of that. So that's why if and when you eat food that keeps giving you nutrients, your body is like totally fed. It's got all it needs to perform. It's just amazing. So nutritious for you. This one is gorgeous. Same thing. You see here, it's the walnut crumble. So it's simply made with walnuts and dates and shredded coconut. And then there's a banana layer. And then here, oh, that's pretty cool. That jam, quote unquote, is raspberries and dates. And that's it. So it's very simple. And then the top here is made with cashews and lucuma. So yeah, so nuts in the living cuisine, nuts are used to make something creamy, like that dessert here. You have the creamy part here. It's made to do like the cake here. So it firmed it up. And then the cake is made with nuts. It helps, like we showed earlier, into doing a dish like this with the zucchini pasta. It's in the roll. It's a spread again. So it's and what it is it keeps. So you have the nuts, for up to 6 months in your fridge. You can put them in your freezer if you like, but it freezes and it's so simple. It's always handy. That cake also is made it's made with macadamia nuts here, as you can see. It's just amazing. The crust is pecans. And again, when people say, oh, but nuts are fattening, but you see, when you eat a piece of cake like this is a 6-inch. I make a 6-inch cake, and I do 6 servings out of that. So you get a slice about that big. Well, it's plenty. You have fruits on the side, it's plenty, but also it's like it's nutrients. It's packed with nutrients. You're not getting sugar. When you eat a cake, the flour is sugar, so you're not getting that. You're really getting nutrients. And there we go. And then at the bottom here, you can see my courses that are offered, and then you can buy the courses. Here are the prices. At the top, you can see you can have the entire collection, which is all the there you go. I'll click on it, and then you can see it's all the food that you can make. So many different food. What else do I have? Oh, there we go. There you can see the food here. So there. Isn't it amazing? And like I said, it's such a simple thing. When you have meat in your fridge, you have to think, oh my gosh, it's been there for 2 days. I should do something with it, or I should freeze it, or you have nuts in your fridge. It's a no-brainer. You just grab what you need and make your recipes. And recipes are easy, let me tell you. Actually, that cake that you saw, it's a free recipe. So you can see, you can click on this, see the recipe, see how easy it is, and follow everything. Do use the raw cacao powder, not the cocoa. I also did a presentation on that, and you'll know why when you read it. So you have to use the raw cacao. So I sure wish that my presentation is inspiring you, and then you can see how, I mean, you can, yeah, from living to thriving, literally, literally. I sure wish that for you. A person who has health has 1,000 dreams, and a person who hasn't has only one. And you know that, right? I wish you a beautiful week, and I will see you again next week. And send me, if you like, on my website, you saw at the bottom of the page, send me, you go, would you talk about a certain subject? I'll be happy to research and tell you what food to eat to actually create. I did one on collagen, I did one on type 2 diabetes, on fibromyalgia. So go have a look and see what food you can eat. It's nature's pharmacy, very efficient, the best. It really works well with your body. Have a beautiful week.